Zeke, you asked earlier, what are we going to do to grow the platform? And part of that is, how do you bring more streamers so they can bring more audience to the platform? And then how do we make sure that everybody benefits from those audiences? So I think that actually helps in a bunch of ways. And let me maybe pivot into kind of some of those announcements around things like feed. And there's a very real question, which is like, why the hell haven't we been doing this before? And what does this look like?
Sure.
If this works, right, and it may not, these are things that are new. If this works, what will happen is somebody will show up to watch one of the three of you, and it turns out you won't be live. And that happens about 50% of the time, right? Somebody comes to Twitch looking for you. If you broadcast 7 days a week, 8 hours a day, you're still only live 33% of the time. So most of the time, viewers show up. About 50% of the time, you're not live. What we want people to do in that moment is either be able to go and check out your story and they catch up on everything they missed today. So if you're doing a new Persona playthrough and it turns out the story is actually genuinely important there and I don't really understand all of where we'll be tomorrow, I can catch up pretty quickly. And then I can go and check out and sample some other streamers, because one of the things that probably gets missed, you've all been on Twitch forever, both as streamers and viewers. Your follow list in the left nav is probably 50 to 250 long, right? There's a lot of people that you follow. For somebody who comes to Twitch at least once a week, that number is more like 3. The vast bulk of viewers don't follow that many streamers. And as a result, they don't have a lot of those sessions where they're like, I need to come because it's Monday morning, 9 a.m. and I know we'll be live right now, right? I know Co will be live because it's 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You're welcome for the ad. And here's how we kind of, go through. So in those moments, we want people to come in and sample maybe 100 clips and go through and end up following one of those streamers. So tomorrow when they come and you've just finished or they missed your stream, they go and watch them. And what that actually means is we had to do a couple things to make this work around clips, but the hardest thing there is that's a very different algorithm than the thing that you're getting on Reels, on Shorts, on TikTok.
Sure.
I don't want you to spend all the time in the feed, right? TikTok had to literally invent the "you've watched too many, please go to sleep now."
Yeah.
Because the algorithms were so good at getting people to stay in the feed. That is an anti-goal for us. We're trying to both recommend an individual clip, but also try and align things like, when do you typically come to Twitch? How much do we think you'll like this before? And we have to train the algorithm on a thing that happens maybe 2 weeks later. I did go and watch this person live, and I did go on to kind of chat and subscribe. And so those kind of things come around. So it's a mental model that we're really keen to get right, rather than just divert viewer attention into clips. Because I think mathematically, I'm pretty confident Twitch viewers will watch a lot of Twitch clips if we make the UI great.
Totally.
That could be a fail.
It's a large portion of TikTok, at least the gaming side of it.
Totally.
It's Twitch clips, right? Like that's how that goes. We were having the discussion last week when we were talking about the feed between me and Co. Is that all a singular app? Is that the goal, to have the Discover, the feed, the Twitch live, the chat all in one app?
So like we've seen over the past that where a lot of times Twitch may come up with like a really good feature or idea, but because it's not kind of put in the face of the viewer, so to speak, it's maybe behind a couple clicks, that kind of thing. Then all of a sudden it just kind of fades into obscurity. So how is it seems like a really cool thing. How is it going to be put in the front and center?
Let me give you the happy path. And I will caveat this with happy path, because as you experiment with things, sometimes they don't work as you expect, right? In fact, I'd say more often than not, what's the line? What's the Mike Tyson line? Which is, everyone's got a plan until they get punched in the mouth.
Right.
Something like that. So the happy path goes like this. In the next month, we will put it in browse, and you will end up having kind of games, live, and clips as your 3 top line items in browse in the mobile app. That'll go to some percentage of viewers. So there'll be a feed of live streams and there'll be a feed of clips, both working kind of side by side. When we feel like the goal of that is to validate that the algorithms that we think we've trained and developed in order to recommend things that you'd watch later work. If we feel like that's working well, we'll pull that clip feed out of browse and it will replace the Discover tab.
Completely.
On mobile right now. Completely.
So then you'd basically click Discover and it'd be a full panel of that system.
Yep. And you'll just have that, and you'll be able to kind of go back and forth. And if that keeps working and things go according to plan, we are very open to that being the default experience when you open the app.
When you open Twitch app on your phone, right? Like
Yeah.
we're talking mobile.
Oh, interesting.
Just on mobile.
So
That makes sense.
That's
to me.
not a decision, to be clear. That's a like we would test and learn our way through there. But there's one version where it's default. There's a version where you could say if any of the channels you follow aren't live, we'll put you in the feed, and you can always click away from the feed if it's not the thing you want. Or there's a version where we put you on follow, and then people have learned that there's a reliably entertaining thing over here in the feed.
and
But
Got it. Okay.
for some people in chat,
we will iterate our way there.
for some people in chat that are saying, like I saw a comment a minute ago, like this is the reason I don't use TikTok. This stuff will all be, I'm assuming, opt out and optional.
Yeah, I mean it's tabs, so you can always
Yeah.
kind of not watch it at all if you don't want to.
So two quick follow-ups. This system, something like TikTok, is curated content designed specifically for that, and then uploaded specifically with that purpose. This new clip system, from what I understand, a lot of it, is it going to be like automatic clip generation, and then like if it gets a bunch of views, it then gets into this system? Or is it going to be like only clips that streamers authorize? Or can we upload curated content specifically only to this system? Like how's that
Great
going to
sets
work?
of questions. Yeah.
It would get really old, like people coming in, like, I saw your butt crack. Was that butt crack guy? Is that you?
Well,
And
on,
I
on that
get
note,
real old, real fast.
on that note too, I mean, Twitch streamers are already in some cases working overtime, as it were, and may not have time to like make curated clips and stuff like that. So like,
Yes.
how do you get the best of both worlds?
These are great sets of questions. So right now, what we believe that the feed should be is things that are a derivative of your stream, because it's a sample of your stream, right? So rather than it be a like, here's me doing something random or doing a VO directly for the feed, it should be some version of like, if you go to co-stream today, here's what you will, the type of thing that you can experience. And the best way to do that is clips thereof. We do think though, that you should, one, have complete control over which of the clips are used to market. So featured clips, which we also announced on stage, will basically give you that capacity. Right now, anybody makes a clip of you, that clip is discoverable on Twitch. We don't think that should be the case long term. In fact, we don't think that should be the case even medium term.
That's a great idea.
From
That would involve a lot of boobs and
from
butts.
August, only the clips that you go through and say this is featured, those will rank at the top of all discovery services above other clips rather than by view count. And by the time we move to the clip feed as having a standalone element in the app, by the time that replaces Discover, only featured clips will go into that. And there'll be different approaches to featuring because everybody wants optionality and functionality. So we will end up in a world in which you can say, listen, I'm very comfortable with almost all the clips my community make of me, default feature my clips. You can do the inverse, saying, I have a very strong brand and people use clips as an abuse vector on my channel. Nothing is featured unless I go through and manually do it. We will similarly let you decide if editors can feature or mods can feature or just you. So you'll have different levels of control over which things get featured and don't.
Two quick follow-ups.
Please.
Will we be able to and promote the people that actually made the clips of our content to encourage that in our community? So
It'd be
could
like
it
a byline or something.
This is if one of my most popular clips was clipped by this person in my community, could I have it so like at the bottom of the clip it says clipped by and their Twitch username and stuff like that?
That's a great suggestion. I don't think that's currently in the designs, but I'm very open to that idea.
Because that would definitely encourage people to use that system for sure.
Yeah.
And
No, I agree.
The
How do
second
you
thing
get
is
some shared credit?
Yeah. Just like an info button or something.
And as a quick follow-up, as when you're seeing this product long term, let's say it blows up. Let's say people are using it and let's say people like it. Do you see a world where people are uploading content specifically to this clip system?
That's a really large debate internally at the moment.
Okay.
And I don't know that we've settled on that.
It's going to be interesting if you start seeing people stream just in vertical format just to get it onto the clip system.
So
because they're like going through.
Everything I say from here isn't a commitment that we will build. It's a set of things that we debate and discuss internally, right? One debate internally. We let viewers edit clips right now. Okay, great. Should we also turn over that vertical editing format to viewers so that viewers can both, do the edging of it, but also do arrange your content vertically? Some streamers will say, dude, I'm very careful with how I lay out my camera and my scenes. I don't want someone else doing that cropping. I will do that, please. Okay. On the other hand, that's less work for the streamer. And as I said, my goal is for you to have to do less work. So like,
Or a
Sure,
viewer
yeah.
could submit it to the streamer for approval.
for approval. Exactly. So it may be that
Yeah.
if we let viewers do that, and then we have featured as a second layer, you can go through and not feature things where you think they fucked up the cropping. But people who want to be kind of good contributors to the stream can.
Yeah.
There's a second question which goes something like, do we think people should be able to take one of your clips and almost in the same way that people do React content now, overlay their own content on the back of another clip in the same way that people do like reactions or reposts on TikTok? In many ways, that's excellent content. It's probably pretty interesting and it distributes your brand. In others,
Stitching.
what if that person's being a jackass and dunking on me? And now all of a sudden my content is being used to mock me. That might
And
there
there's
might be a
TOS
way-
things about that too, right?
There are, yep, for sure. But there's also questions like, could we arrange the system in such a way that if your clip is the baseline content for someone else's clip and you don't like it, you can just revoke that clip and then any reproductions of that clip are automatically deleted as they're run through. There's other iterations again which say, listen, maybe people should be able to upload directly into the feed. I think the place where that will happen first is in stories, because we are going to let everybody kind of go through and, you know, picture and photo and video and all of that good stuff within stories. And so if we see people are making really good upload direct to Twitch content in stories, that's a pretty good use case and argument to say, maybe we should do that in feed as well. Or you could get really crazy and ask the question of, will we end up distributing stories in a feed in the same way that you can see that on TikTok and other places? And the honest answer is we don't really know yet. It matters a lot on how people are using it. Emmett used to say all the time a phrase that I really like, which is most roads are paved cow paths, which is if you think about the way that cities evolved, where people and their cows walked, eventually you laid down cobblestones and that becomes the road. Right? That's why Broadway runs through New York at this funky angle. The indigenous population and the First Nations people would continue to walk the way that they always walked, regardless of where you put your nice grid. So a lot of what we do at Twitch is we start with the basic framing of a product, and then as we see how you utilize it, we ask the question like, how do we make that easier, or how do we help more people do that?
I like it.
So
Makes
right now
sense.
we have a lot of open-ended thoughts, and please feel free to holler at us as you're using it, and you have thoughts like, I didn't think about the clip credit element here, the spread it with credit. That seems very smart.
Sure. Yeah.
I have 2 more questions, but I've been hogging the mic, so someone else please go.
I have one thing that all of our favorite Barry brought up about if you go to a live stream from a clip on this new thing, you won't get ads for 15 minutes, and that is that like, it's not like a hard fast thing that he's saying. He's saying, I'm asking you, is that a thing? Is that true?
So we haven't got a hard, fast answer to that yet.
Okay.
Broadly speaking, our goal with the feed is to introduce new viewers to your channel. And separately, we have a goal, which is new viewers to your channel shouldn't get pre-roll ads.
Yes.
So those things should dovetail perfectly, but there isn't a hard line of code currently written into the mock of the system that says if you swipe, right from clip into channel that is live in feed, decline ad. It is the type of thing where we're going to monitor and check. But Mike and I are both philosophically with you that says we shouldn't be, delivering ads when somebody is first introduced to your channel.
It's funny that you say that, because like in chat, you see like first time chatter, and then the second time they come back to your channel, it says returning chatter. So the chat box knows.
We definitely know.
They haven't been there before. Yeah.